What is going on, everybody? This is Brandon from ComixKings. Welcome, everybody, back to the kingdom. Or welcome, this is your first time. And welcome, Travis, because this is your first time actually being on the show. Station to you, my friend.
Station, everyone. Welcome to Comics Kings. The guy who likes to say he's a king, but we all know who the real king is, and that's Jack Kirby.
You know, do you see the background? Do you not see the background? It's Krakoa. It's your home. I decided to make you feel more at home today, but yeah, guys, Travis is the multiple man of the comic community. I call him Jamie Madrox because he is everywhere and anywhere in all the chats supporting everybody. So it's just a lot of fun today. We're just going to be talking about some of the books we read, just talk about some things, you know. The conversation today is where will this take us? Because you never know with these kind of shows. You never know with Crisis on Infinite Rants. So Travis, thank you for making your first true appearance today, man.
Oh, I'm happy to be here, man. It's kind of random, but
yeah, that's the beauty of this show. We also have another first appearance, and if you guys do want to come hang with us, talk some comics, definitely join the StreamYard. I posted it in the comment section below. We got Chamara already here, Station to you, my friend. We got Marvel Win, Station, and Fable, Station, who was just on with No Good Comics a little bit ago, so definitely go catch that if you guys have not done that already. We have someone in the green room right now backstage. Let's bring him on. This is Alfred Page, the creator of Chess. How are you doing, sir?
Station, and how y'all doing today?
Good, man. Station. Alfred, you've been doing a lot of great stuff lately, so how about you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we released some new titles with Second Slate Publishing. I'm the creator of Chess and Blowtorch. Issue 1 came out. Issue 2 is coming. Issue 2 of both comic books are coming out on June 9th. Issue 1, thanks to people like TM there, had a great response with Blowtorch and Chess, and we're just looking to keep that going, keep that excitement going with the titles.
There you go, man. That's what's up. And Travis, what are you reading lately, bro? It's constant. You're always in people's chats. Do you even have time to read?
Sometimes. I've been reading the Spawn Compendium because I do a show with Big Room Collectibles every Sunday, and we're about halfway through that now. But I did recently read this book. It was only $1, and it was really, really interesting. It's about a girl who pretty much is like nonstop thinking about death, and then she does get in an accident, and then she finds out that she can see in the reflection of people's like in a mirror, and that if she sees somebody looking into a mirror, she can see their death. And come the end of it, she decides to look in the mirror herself, and then what she sees is not herself. But you guys will just have to check it out to find out. But it was really good, and it was only $1.
Right, and the cover's pretty dope, dude. Show that cover one more time. Let me spotlight you.
Yeah, that's an awesome cover, man. That's imaginative.
There you go. That reminds me of something they used to see in like Vertigo right before it got shot to death. You know, like I don't know if you ever read Hex Wives, but it like ended halfway through. It was really good. Robbie Rodriguez was doing the art, and I think Rico Renzi was doing the colors. I forget who wrote it, but it was really good. It was very similar to like what you're talking about. So that's just what made me think of that. That's awesome, bro. And a lot of times when you guys do go dollar bin diving, you can find a lot of good reads. Alfred, what are you reading, man?
You know, I'm about to go to a comic book store in a little while, and I got a list of new comic books that I'm gonna be checking out. I think some of them came from you, Travis, right?
Yeah, I sent you like a list.
Sent me a list. I'm about to start my grill up. I went to the comic book store. I'm gonna buy some meats, and that's what I'm gonna spend my day today.
There you go, man. That's a great day.
I think Silver Coin's on the list. Of course, the Batman Detective issue 2. I want to get that.
There you go. Silver Coins. I haven't read it yet. Travis, did you read it?
No, I read the first issue. I don't have the second issue yet, but I'm liking it. I liked how the first issue, and it just got picked up to be an ongoing series yesterday.
Right. I did hear about that. And the whole premise is they have a bunch of different writers each doing a piece of the anthology story, if I'm not mistaken, correct? So I know the first one's
Yeah.
by Chip Zdarsky. This one's by Kelly Thompson,
Kelly Thompson, and
who
she's
is
being slept on.
fantastic.
Yeah,
She
she's
is.
slept on a lot.
Yo, Kelly Thompson is heavily slept on. If you guys are not reading Black Widow right now, her Deadpool is also fantastic. She did Mr. and Mrs. X. She's doing Captain Marvel, which is also heavily slept on, in my opinion. So definitely Kelly Thompson is a name that you do want to keep in mind. She is fantastic, and she does a lot of great work. I just am drawing a blank for whatever else she's writing, but everything she does is always solid. So definitely keep an eye on her going forward. Right now, I am reading Daredevil because I have a show tonight at 6. I'm reading some Bronze Age Daredevil. But something I do want to ask you guys is, where do you guys kind of fall in like collecting? Because it's something that like I always like to ask people. Is there different types of collectors? Are people who like hunt down keys, or people who just hunt down just good books to read? What are your guys' kind of overall thoughts on the community, on your niche in the community?
Well, you guys know that I'm a huge Beast Wars fan, so anything Beast Wars, I collect a lot of their covers, not because of spec, but just because I love the Beast Wars. I grew up with the Beast Wars. They're my definitive Transformers. But not saying, I'm not knocking the original, because if it wasn't for the original, they wouldn't be here. But I collect anything Beast Wars. I've been going back and finding a lot of old Beast Wars comics. Yes, they made old Beast Wars back in the day. So I've been collecting them. I don't have any to show off right now. They're in my box, but I'll post them on Instagram.
There you go. And we'll definitely keep an eye out. Alfred, where do you kind of fall in the whole niche of collecting?
I'm a Kickstarter guy, so I read a lot of Kickstarters. I support a lot of Kickstarters, and they always coming in, and those are the kind of books I kind of follow up on.
There you go. Because I know you're a creator as well. Like, did you back the Spawn Kickstarter, or like the Noctera Kickstarter, or do you look for more like niche titles?
I bought the toy out of the store. At the store, I didn't support the Kickstarter, but I bought the comic book out the store. Spawn, no, I didn't support that one. I do more of the independents. Like I just got Big Jack from Peter. I got Rumble Kings from Ryan. Today I got Stanley the Snowman from Austin. From Scout Comics. Yeah, so I'm big on Kickstarters. I support a lot of Kickstarters, and
you also supported Justin Richards' Kickstarter, Silent Night, as well. I've seen that as well.
Yep, a lot of them. So they come in. I support so many that I forget what's coming, but it's always good. I go to the mailbox, always got something in there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I enjoy those are the comic books. And as far as key comic books, I'm still in the '90s. Like I just got the Kindred trade.
There you go. Station stuff. For me, I'm mainly like, so I've gone back and forth. It's a conversation that I've been having with myself lately. What exactly do I enjoy with comics? You know, and I always go back to, what is the purpose of a comic book? It's to be read, right? So yeah, like you want to keep it in the best condition possible, but you can crack open a book such as like Uncanny and just read it, get a good sense of the story without damaging it, you know, because that's what they were made for. They're made to read. Obviously, we all speculate, right? Like everyone has their own speculation, like with the TV shows, like what's going to be next, like which writer's going to blow up big, right? We all have our speculation, but I've come to notice if you speculate to the point where it ruins your enjoyment of the sole purpose of what you're doing. So for me, like I try to stay to like my weeklies and just try to read as much as I can, because that's really what it's all about, is reading and then discussing the comic book, enjoying it for the art, enjoying it for the story. I do own a few slabs, but I don't necessarily go over the top with that as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. What comic book do you, out the comic books that y'all reading now, what comic book would you love to see as a movie that's not picked up? Not like Bitter Riot, anything like that, but something that has not been discovered yet. What's the comic book?
Not been discovered. Travis, I'll let you go first, bro.
Not been discovered. I don't know. I don't really pick up like Extraordinary. I guess people are picking that up. The Edge and Blowtorch is now discovered, so I can't say that.
I mean, not picked up. I'm talking about not picked up by a movie studio.
But like, it's not been optioned yet.
Not optioned, yeah.
Shadowhawk, of course.
Stay 90, staying in that. But actually, Shadowhawk would be an awesome movie for right now. You follow the original story of Shadowhawk. That'd be an awesome movie.
Firepower would also be good.
Firepower would be great. I know that there's a book called Stealth. It was created by Mark Silvestri, but he didn't actually draw it. He gave it to like Michael Costa. But I would love to see Stealth adapted. It's about an African American superhero, and it has like an Invincible type feel to it, but it's not Invincible.
It didn't have a big run though.
Yeah, it was.
I think only one or two. I think I remember only the first issue or second issue of that, and then it kind of disappeared.
Yeah, it's in trade right now. I would definitely pick it up, but it was Robert Kirkman and Mark Silvestri, both of them, but they gave it to another creative team. And then someone Delagarde was doing the art. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was definitely worth a good read, and it was definitely very interesting. So I would love to see that picked up, and I would love to see Once in Future picked up.
What's that?
I think Once in Future. It's by Kieran Gillen and Dan Morrow over at Boom Studios. It's kind of like, okay, what if King Arthur came back from the dead, right? And how would you kind of stop the cult in Britain, right? And it's like this guy and his grandma really just like keep going to find that it's like a horror magic type feel, and it's great. It's a fantastic read, and Dan Morrow is a very talented artist. So here's my question for you guys. If you had to do a Justice League team, we talked about this the other day, but I want to ask you guys one more time. If you guys could do a Justice League team, what would be your dream team? Any characters you want.
You going first?
Am I going first? I was going to open up to you guys to go first. I kind of.
Travis, you going first?
You can go first.
I had to think about it, but I know I like Wonder Woman, Hawk Girl, John Stewart, and then I would change up like to Black Canary and maybe Green Arrow, something like that. I would do a team that gets away from the shadows of Superman and Batman.
Right.
In this sense, I would, do a team that gets away. Wonder Woman's in there, but if you let Wonder Woman loose, so instead of being the big three, but more of her leadership and her ferocity and Amazon training and stuff like that, you have a vicious team.
There you go. 100%, man. And I think like once you take apart the Trinity, it kind of opens the avenue for more spotlight in the different Justice League characters that we don't necessarily get to see.
Yeah.
Travis, what about you, man?
I'd probably get Nightwing as the leader. Yara Flor Wonder Girl instead of Diana Prince. I'd like to see Blue Beetle in there and Booster Gold.
I got a similar question. If you could do I asked this to Travis before, but if you could take a team of DC characters, 5 characters, and do a crossover with the original Age of Apocalypse trade from Marvel, put on that planet, what 5 characters would you take, and who do you think would survive long enough on that planet to make a difference?
I would like this team right here, honestly. Because this team that Link has right here, he got Booster Gold, he got Martian Manhunter, so you have a time traveler, someone who can shapeshift, and Martian is a great leader as well. Hawkgirl is just a badass. Supergirl, Etrigan, and Nightwing. I would honestly leave Nightwing out of there. I would leave Nightwing out of there because I think that's putting Nightwing in. There's too many heads in the room, and I'm a huge Nightwing fan. But I would do that. I know I talked about a team the other day. It was like, what'd I say? I said Batman, Martian, Cyborg, and I said 2 other people, but I don't remember who I said. But we do have someone in the green room as well. We got Chris, the comic vet. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for coming.
Good, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
How you doing?
No problem, man.
What's up, fam?
Got a question for you. What are you reading that you want to let the people know?
Ooh, all right. I picked this last Sunday as my hot pick. Time Before Time. For those that haven't picked this up, or if you can manage to get yourselves this variant done by the late John Paul Leon. This is a very interesting story. And the one book that I hope everyone is talking about, we finally have a great Spider-Man story right now, because we all know the Amazing Spider-Man storyline is not that good. Nick Spencer's kind of failing the way that Dan Slott did in the tail end of his couple of years on the run. But Chip Zdarsky is giving us a very interesting what if, and it's nice to see like a little bit of a throwback to the late 80s, early 90s, the Todd McFarlane era, where we have the symbiote staying on Peter Parker instead of going to Eddie Brock.
Yeah, I was going to pick that comic book up. How was that read?
It's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
So obviously everybody knows What If was something that Marvel did back in the day, kind of just doing a one shot of what if this happened, how would it change the universe? It's like an Elseworld story, kind of a fun thing, but at the end of the day, no one cares because it's like a one shot and you can't amount a whole universe in that. So they're bringing it back as a mini series, which is probably props to them. They finally learned, and I enjoy this topic a lot.
Yeah.
Chris, I agreed with everything that you said about Spider-Man except for Dan Slott, because I think like the whole Red Goblin arc was a lot of fun.
Okay. I can respect that. I can respect that. The Red Goblin was fun. Yep.
Did you read the latest issue, the king-sized ransom? Oh, Jesus Christ.
I do have it here. I haven't cracked into it. I'll be cracking into it at some point this afternoon. I'll just flash the cover for those that don't know what he's talking about. This is it here.
You're gonna be very disappointed. You're gonna be more disappointed than you have been this whole run.
I mentioned when I picked this book up on my sorry, I'm not meaning to shameless plug my channel, but when I picked this up this new comic book day, I remember looking at the cover and looking at it and thinking, oh, I hope that this is a one-shot title, but all the characters that are featured, sorry about the glare, boys, all the characters that are featured on this cover seem to be the same ones that are going through the arc on the normal ASM run, so I don't know why we necessarily had to have a giant size, even though the arc is going to continue into the next ASM book, which is coming out this Wednesday. But, you know, it's,
right.
Again, it's the book is more beautiful than what it is fun to read at this point. You know, we do have some great artists that are working on this. Gleason's been doing some covers, and as we all know, ASM 55, Bagley is back. ASM 55, as we all know, has gone 3 printings, possibly 4. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But man, it as a franchise title, it's so bad, and yet we have something that's collectively just by itself, and this is so good. It's weird, but it also shows the strength that Chip Zdarsky is writing right now across the board when it comes to him. You know, the Daredevil stuff he's doing along with his independence, and now he's getting into DC as well with the last ride for Justice League.
That was great.
Yeah, Chip Zdarsky is hitting on all cylinders.
Right, okay. I agree. Travis, Paige, Alfred, did you guys read any of this stuff that we're talking about? Or are you guys kind of stepping back?
I did want to read that new Spider-Man What If storyline. I heard from another show how good it was, so that's on my list to get when I go today. If they got any left for that, they were sold out the first time I went.
Yeah, they're probably going to be sold out. Anything that Chip Zdarsky's doing right now is going to be gone by Thursday or Friday on New Comic Book Day.
Whatever they got left. You know, unfortunately, when you work during the week and you get like 1 day, you can get to the comic book store.
Right. Yeah. What I always do is I'll email them like a list of books that I want pulled. You know, or you can just like call them and say, hey man, like I'm coming in this day. I can pay up front. Can you just set it aside? That way you get the books that you want. The beautiful thing about this book that Zdarsky's doing is like he's hitting on every point of it. It's like actually like diving. It's not necessarily like overuse of the symbiotes, because I think that's like was everyone's concern going into it, is how much symbiote is enough with what Donny Cates is doing, right? Which is fantastic. But how can you tell something different, and how can you build like a new world? And I think the art style really is setting that tone of a different universe. And it's great. It's great, and it's exactly what I would expect from that book. And I know that I'm very tough judgment on books that I have high expectations for. If you guys know, if you guys watch the show, you guys know that I have high expectations for my comics. But there's nothing wrong with that.
The Spider's Shadow that we're talking about, it's fun to see that those little threads that were there in, you know, issue 295, 296, 297, 298, to where Peter finally got rid of the symbiote back in the day.
Right.
Those little threads are now being pulled through the first 2 issues where he was struggling to want to get rid of it. That struggle is gone. He's almost embracing it, and you can see the characteristics that make Peter Parker such a special character are disappearing, and he's falling into the darkness what the symbiote is. And it's more of the psychological change that is brilliant to read, and the artwork it complements it beautifully as well. But it's fun to see Peter go down this dark path and lose, the great responsibility ethic that's always been heavy on his shoulders. And it's pure Zdarsky. Like, let's be honest, Zdarsky's it's the same type of writing that we're getting out of the Daredevil run, something that seems to be going under the radar other than spec value for that particular Daredevil run.
Right.
Yeah, it's he's writing really good stuff, and Stillwater too is really good, and we got that coming out Wednesday. Yep.
Right, and I think that, to your point, is the reason why like Zdarsky is heavily like slept on right now across the border is because there is no spec value. Chip Zdarsky is a pure character writer. He will take a character and he will like make you want to read them more. Right. And that's like the whole thing, which is like my problem with a lot of people in the industry, or like a lot of people in, I don't want to say it's like a problem, but it's more of I'm shying away, is people who are in the medium to speculate. Right. Now, yeah, it's okay to like, if you want to have 5 copies of a book, great. But if you're not reading it, do you really deserve to have those 5 copies? These comics were meant to be read. You know?
Meant to be read.
Comics are meant to be read. Yeah. That's my philosophy. You go to a store, you buy a comic, you read the comic.
Like, let's be honest, it's always fun, when you go and you pick up a book and there's a variant cover and you're lucky enough to get your hands on that variant cover if you buy it just because it's just a beautiful creation of artwork or whatever. But how fun is it to know that, okay, I just picked up Daredevil 25 and 48 hours later you're finding out that all of a sudden now it's a $25 or $35 book going on eBay. You're like, oh, that's great, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm not interested in letting go of this book or anything like that. At the speculation market, it's fun. It's fun to hear that, a book that I managed to pick up, or a book that's been on my pull list for months and months and months, this particular issue is taken off. Oh, that's cool. Right. But again, if you're it's like you mentioned, if you're picking up 5 copies and hope to flip it for $15-$20 and you're not even cracking open that spine to find out what's inside, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Now, it's always cool to know like the dollar value of your collection, but is that the reason why you're getting into the hobby in the first place? Is that the reason why we're on these streams talking to people? For me, that's not why I'm here. Like, it's always cool, right, to say, oh yeah, this is like I'm gonna show off this book real quick, and it's just because it's right here. But, this is a book that's very special to me. It's cool to know that I bought it at a very affordable price and I wouldn't be able to buy it in that price now. But that's not the reason why I bought it, like to sit on it. I bought it because this is a very seminal piece in my favorite character's history, and I could tell you every panel in the story. So I
got a story like that too. Not to steal your bandwagon, but I'm not here to flex the hell out of my collection. But because you said that it's a seminal part of your history and one of your favorite characters, or pardon me, a seminal point in your character's history, mine is The Amazing Spider-Man. I've been working on issue 1-100 for the better part of 6 or 7 years. A few years ago, I had an opportunity to sell property, make a small profit, and I decided to pull the trigger on a book that was very important to me. And I'll tell you the story, what I did with this book after I show you. And it is this one, as you can all recognize right away what it is. And so I bought this book. And
hold it up one more time. I'm finding your face. There you go. Oh shit, that's a beautiful stand sig.
So I picked this book up, and when I finally got it, and I smuggled it back into Canada because I have a U.S. postal box. When I smuggled it back into Canada, I found out that Stan Lee was going to be coming to Toronto for his final Comic-Con appearance at Fan Expo in Toronto, which takes place every August in 2016. Well, in May, I cracked this book open and I read it. And I read it from cover to cover. I read the ads. I read everything. And it was a beautiful thing. And that's the part that I found so satisfying. Like, yeah, it's awesome to, get yourself a holy grail, there is quite a sense of accomplishment in it. I don't care what it's worth right now. I'm sure it's probably worth 3 times what I paid for it. I paid a lot of money for it, but only because I had an opportunity to sell property, make a little bit of money. And when I had the opportunity to put this book in front of Stan at Fan Expo in Toronto, I actually said to him, thank you for Spider-Man. And I actually read this book recently and I loved it. And it's just another reason why I'm so thankful for what you did for me as a reader. And he looked at me, and in that Stan Lee voice, he said, "You're welcome, son."
Dude, that's awesome. That's an incredible story. That's what it's all about, man.
So it seemed like a short while later, even though we did get to have Stan for another 2 or 3 years after his final Toronto appearance. It just seemed like a short while later he was gone. And now we just have, as collectors, there is that little bit of a void, because that whenever you see a Stan Lee signature now, it's all of a sudden now it's even more precious than what it was from when he was alive.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. Now I do like to hear everyone else's story of a creator that you may have met at a con, or like a special moment that you had with a creator. Alfred, Travis, you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Like off the top of your head.
I've never been.
The biggest person I met was Jim Lee. I actually had and I was showing chess around years ago in New York, in a convention in New York. I met Jim Lee and I showed him chess, and actually invited me behind the desk and we talked about it for a little while. Nice. And
awesome dude.
At the time I was submitting him, he asked me my idea and what's behind it and everything, and was talking about it. He said, I like the idea, but it's very similar to what I have, which is a comic book at the time called Stormwatch Team of Killers. And he's like, are you sure you're not reading my mind?
You should have. Dude, that's awesome, bro.
It was there with Sandra Hope, I think was the inker back then, and Carlos DeAndy.
Sandra Hope is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I sat back there with the 3 of them during the convention. It's a fantastic time. He went over my sketches, went over my characters, and he's like, then he showed me Stormwatch Team of Killers, and it was a good and bad moment, because I felt like, he liked the idea, but he's like, it's too close to a comic book title I got coming out right now. And just Stormwatch Team of Killers. And then he showed me the early artwork of that comic book that he was doing and had coming out. So good and bad moment, but he's an awesome guy, because most awesome after famous creators that I met.
What's up? What's going on, Justin? Station to you, sir. Good to see you here, bro. Dude, like, that's awesome. Like, those are like the kind of moments that make like everything like come full circle. And I know everybody knows this, but I know I've been promoting it heavy. I sat down with Will Spartasio last night for a very long interview. It didn't even feel like an interview, but it was like one of the best times that I've personally had in a very long time. And the fact that it's like you just get to talk to somebody and you're just able to get to know them through this hobby is really what it's all about, whether they're creator, whether they're just like 4 nerdy guys on a stream behind a Krakoan background, aka Travis's little home. But
how is he? He's a good guy. I sent him a message not too long ago, like when I was doing chess. I really wanted to do the Wetworks cover over. Do a homage to it.
And I didn't get a chance talking about Wetworks yesterday. But that's because it's been out of print for so long, and it's probably been out of print longer than I've been alive. So,
you're aging me, man. I remember the Wednesday that book was released.
Right. Yeah. But still one of the most iconic covers and iconic image covers ever out the whole collection. That original gatefold Wetworks covers is to this day one of the best covers done.
Yeah, that whole first series, or the first wave of Image Comics, I can remember I was, let me think, 16 or 17 when Todd McFarlane et al. Decided to walk away from the big 2 and go on their own, and Will Spartasio came along, and Silvestri. I can remember that first wave. All those covers were fire. You had Savage Dragon, Youngblood,
Youngblood
Spawn
was fantastic.
Right. Even Spawn 2 had a great cover. But then yes, sir.
Couch.
Dale
Yeah,
Keown traveled
yeah.
in there too with the pick, but
I'm
man,
telling
I
you,
tell you,
Sam Keith came
Potasio
in
was
them,
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Potasio was
I was just talking to
fantastic.
Travis about that the other day. The boom and excitement of that era of comics is unmatched.
Yeah.
Unmatched.
And
You know what
my
I mean?
only regret is I wish I were alive back then. I wish we were talking about Booster Gold earlier. I wish he could like be my little plug right now, but
yeah. If you could go back and get those, like I said, I just got the Kindred trade. You know what I mean? I really still into the '90s, but that boom, man. Yeah, boom.
Right.
Wetwork and the Wetwork. I think the first issues that Willis was still on.
Yeah.
I mean, the artwork was crazy in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they definitely are. It's like it all goes back to like what we were talking about yesterday, and it's like the theme that I always get when I'm talking to other people is that passion that we all have. That's why we talk about these books. That's why we read them, is because we have a passion for what's inside of them.
Mhm.
And I think like when you are in this community, you really want to find people that share your similar niche of the passion in the larger picture that is the comic community. Like there are some people who are passionate about speculating, right? Passionate about finding that Silver Surfer 3, hoping it's going to be in a WandaVision one of these. Could be finding that 9/8, could be getting that next yellow label, or could just be going dollar bin diving and finding a great read that Travis did earlier.
That's not a dollar bin find. That's a new comic that just came out.
Oh, I thought you said you went dollar
$1.
bin diving. Oh
No, it's only $1.
oh, it's only $1. It's dollar bin.
So,
But yeah,
and it's an ongoing series. Like issue 1 will be regular cover price.
Right.
This is just to get people into it.
There you go.
Right.
And Chris, you mentioned that you're big on reading Spider-Man. Who do you hope? Let's speculate a little bit. Who do you want to be the next writer after Nick Spencer?
Ooh, for the franchise, I would like someone that's an independent writer right now, and kind of swinging into a franchise title with someone who has like almost little connection to the character. I'd like to see Rom V come over and handle him. Rom V is doing Swamp Thing right now, as some know. He just released an Image title. Yep,
Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, and I would like to see just a very quiet, up and coming writer that seems to be gathering a lot of respect go in and do something different, and pick a villain and give us that villain over 6 story arc, or over a 6 issue story arc, or a 7 issue story, or make it a full season, whatever, 12 issues, whatever they want, whatever he wants. And for the love of God, the editor-in-chief, just let him do what he wants. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to have the gimmick of a new suit. We don't have to have a gimmick of Peter posing with someone for a selfie. In the mean streets of Manhattan. It doesn't have to happen that way. It doesn't have to tie into his love. Let's base it around the villain, and then how Spider-Man ties into it that way.
Right.
Give us a Death of Kraven again. Give us, let's move away from Boomerang. Let's move away from Tombstone.
Well,
give us someone fresh, someone that's brand new to Ron V.
A fresh look on old comic books. Yep.
Right. What I was really excited to see was the 2-issue arc that had Chance in it that Nick Spencer did. I was like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. And who else was there? Hobgoblin was in that arc as well. No, it was Jack-O-Lantern. It was Jack-O-Lantern that was in there. And I was so excited for that, and then they just dipped. I was like, "Oh, you suck."
And it's not even to the point where I want to say, and I want this artist, because let's be honest, Marvel has a whole armory full of fantastic artists. Pick and choose whoever you want, or just let Ron V pick whatever he wants.
Juan Cabal would be great. Juan Cabal.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have to have that household name artist. Again, Patrick Gleason kind of came out of nowhere. And it's thanks to the Amazing Spider-Man, or at least for me, he wasn't on my radar that big until he did ASM 55's cover. And all of a sudden now everyone knows exactly who Patrick Gleason is because of one piece of work. But his interiors, and the cover before 55-54, which was just a close-up of Peter's face with New York in the background of the eyelids, that again too was a fire cover.
Right.
But yeah, let's just change up ASM altogether, man. I don't want to say just wipe it clean or whatever, but just give us a story arc that's just contained in itself. We don't have to talk about issue 40 or 45 or everything that's been happening recently with Boomerang and his pet dog, which is an alien. But yeah,
dog.
But yeah, let's. It doesn't need to be childlike. We can have it. We can have a mature storyline. We did it in the '80s with the Death of Kraven. That was a mature storyline
that everyone
across
loves.
3 different Spider titles. We can do it again, and I think Ron V, because of what he's doing with Swamp Thing, could be that guy.
Right. And I agree 100% with that. I think Ron V would do a great job. I don't know how much he would have to say about Spider-Man, because I know that he's more of a magical kind of writer.
Mm-hmm.
That's based off Justice League Dark, Swamp Thing, many Deaths of Layla Starr. Like they all kind of have like that same underlying topic, which is like, how can I use magic? Which you can do that in Spider-Man, right?
Right, and that's where the villain could be. That's where the villain could be, and just throw the webhead in on top of it.
Right. Alfred, what's going through your head? Who do you want to write Spider-Man next?
As far as writers, I'm always going to be towards my writing partner, Alex DeGrocci. He is an incredible character writer, and I would love to
say one more time. I didn't catch it. Who did you say?
My writing partner, Alex DeGrocci, out of the UK. He is an incredible character writer. His scripts are incredible, and I would love for him to have a chance to write somebody bigger, that his name could get out there a bit much more. He's intense with character development in his scripts.
100%.
Travis read Blowtorch. He gets an idea of how he writes character development in the scripts, and it's one of the most gifted writers I know. So I'd love for him to have an opportunity to get out there to some of the bigger names like Spider-Man and people like that.
There you go. And Travis, who do you want to write the next Amazing Spider-Man ongoing?
I'm gonna go with my first. I was asked this probably a couple months ago, and it was in a Rock and Robbie live chat. It was just like, name out who you think, and I said Stephanie Phillips.
Ooh, yeah, Stephanie would have. I think she does have a lot of words to say. She's definitely up and coming. I think I would like to see her. Yeah, maybe that'd be a great pick too. I'm still waiting for a Stephanie Phillips book where there's an artist that I actually tolerate, but that's just like, I'm like, no, stop it.
Like, yeah, because she's killing it on Harley Quinn. It's just the art inside is not that great,
right? And Riley Rossmo's last project I've liked was Martian Manhunter, because you can get away with that shit in Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
right. Like his layouts in that book were phenomenal, to the point where it's like, I'm reading a Martian Manhunter book, I'm expecting it to transform. I'm not expecting a 6-panel grid, 4-panel grid. I'm not expecting that. So he was able to do it there, but with the Robin King and Death Metal, and then what he's doing with Harley Quinn, it's like, I can't do it, man. It's too whack. And if you guys are familiar with this artwork, you guys know that those big googly eyes only belong in Teen Titans Go.
Wow.
But for me personally, I don't want to see Donny Cates on the book. If it is Donny Cates, I don't want to see anyone he's worked with before. I don't want to see Ivan Coelho. I don't want to see Walter. I don't want to see Ryan Stegman. Personally, I would like to see them keep Gleason on the book and Mark Bagley. I think that they would love to draw that book, and like you said a little bit ago, Chris, there's like a plethora of Marvel artists that they have that would jump at the opportunity to draw. Like, that's the one thing that I'm loving at Marvel right now, is their creative teams are hungry, right? Versus what's like going on in DC. Like, I feel like DC is more of an unattractive kind of place to work at because they're cutting back on titles, but they're also kind of bringing in new things. I don't know. I think that Marvel is a little bit more structured with where they want to go right now. See, this is why I say that. Travis, I know you're shaking your head. All right. So let me talk. I've been talking about this for quite some time. Is when DC has done their relaunches with New 52, with Rebirth, they've had like an anchor writer. They've always had their anchor writer to kind of lead that reboot. Okay, and it doesn't kick in for like a year or so. With the New 52, it was Jeff Johnson. Their big project stemmed from Justice League, right, leading up to Darkseid War. It's a great book. It was a great book, right? But at the end of it, like leading up to it, you could see that the New 52 had their flaws, right? Okay, it had major flaws in it, right? 0 years. Just things just did not add up. With Rebirth, right? They announced a whole bunch of titles. They're like, we're going to rebirth these characters and give you guys these niche characters, right? You had Blue Beetle, you had a Cyborg series, you had a Trinity, you had you had like a few Justice League books to match your niche of characters. All got canceled within a year. Suicide Squad canceled in a year, right? Wow. And then they were supposed to lead. They were supposed to lead with 3 Jokers and Doomsday Clock. Didn't work. So Scott's what's a Doomsday Clock? It's the worst Jeff Johns book that he's ever written. But then it kind of got taken over by Scott Snyder, and that was more like, here you go, and You're the Villain was quite enjoyable, but leading up to that part was so frustrating. With Infinite Frontier, they're saying, yeah, let's just keep doing all these individual stories because we don't have a plan where we're going editorially. Which is fine, right? But you have books like Teen Titans writing Nightwing with Starfire, Nightwing in a kind of a weird way that's completely different from what Tom Taylor's doing. You know, and I guarantee you that Teen Titans book will be canceled in a year. I guarantee it.
That's the only thing that's really bad about DC right now is that Teen Titans Academy. I'm dropping that.
Flash is no bueno.
Yeah, the Flash as well, but I'm loving the Magistrate. I'm loving that new organization of the Magistrate coming in. It's really appealing to me. I'm loving Harley Quinn. I'm loving Batman. I'm loving Batman's Second Sons, the new Batman. I'm loving a bunch of stuff that DC is putting out. Miracle Molly.
Oh my gosh. Jen would slap you right now if she were in the chat.
No, she'd send out hearts.
But I mean, like, to your point, like, all these stories are very like individual, very set alone, but they're also tying into what they did in Future State. Here's my question is, what happens when a title doesn't sell and they have to cancel it? How does that already add up to their end game that they're already pitched? My theory,
the only one I think that's going to be canceled would be Teen Titans Academy, and if you look, they're not really connected with the rest of what DC is doing.
Right. But here's the thing: DC isn't connected with what DC is doing. Right now, I'm telling you this. Wait for the Infinite Frontier miniseries because there's a reason why. Right, nothing has tied into it. Like, what happened when the Quintessence died? That has not been touched on. You know,
because that's led up to that miniseries. So we're not going to be touching on that until we're closer to that miniseries.
But that's supposed to hint at their next event. My question is, like, when Darkseid War, right, was the big event, you had a bunch of times, you had a bunch of stories that all led up to what are these characters doing in this? I feel like DC has so many individual stories. You tell Tom Taylor, hey, build your Nightwing to where it can tie into whatever we're doing with Infinite Frontier. I guarantee you that'll be his ticket off the book because that's not what Tom Taylor's about with Nightwing, and that's why I love it. I'm loving what DC's doing right now with a caution because I don't see how they're going to tie in everything going forward, you know? And I don't think Joshua Williamson is the one to do it with. I think I don't think Joshua Williamson has that talent. Yeah,
I don't think it'll tie in, but it'll have little Easter eggs kind of connecting them. As they have been. Like, if you look in Suicide Squad, if you look in Swamp Thing, if you look in Batman, you look in all of these books, they're all connected now.
Which some of them are, but what I'm saying is, like, they're not connecting to, like, the bigger picture yet. They're not connecting to, you know, what Infinite Frontier is all about, which they haven't even introduced that yet. Here, you know, they haven't even told us yet. So
July, isn't it?
It's June, so next month they're going to drop it. Which they're dropping all these miniseries, which are individual stories, right? You have the Mr. Miracle mini, you're getting a Supergirl mini, you have a Swamp Thing mini. And it's like you're dropping all these individual titles, which are great reads, right? Great starting points, but I don't know how that's going to carry, especially because, right, that Swamp Thing series is the second best book in DC, right? Arguably number 1, right behind Nightwing, right? That's like my biggest point is, you have these titles that are selling as individual stories. right? And I've noticed this through experience of reading DC. The moment that they're going to take a title that's so individualized, tie it into something bigger, right? Very similar to Scott Snyder's Court of Owls, right? City of Owls, Death in the Family were great. Volumes 1, 2, 3. After that, the sales were, while they were still good for a Batman book, they weren't as high as Court of Owls. You know, that's really my point, is how are they going to tie it in with Joshua Williamson, who is more of a character writer than like a universe builder like Scott Snyder or Jeff Johns.
Mm-hmm.
That's my concern. I'm enjoying DC, but I think that they're very open, saying, "Hey, we don't give a shit. Here's what you want. Here's what you want in these characters, right?"
I think Marvel did that with King in Black. It's just like, we'll just throw all these titles out, plop King in Black on it, and say it's a tie-in, and it has nothing to do with the other story.
Right. Well, some of the King in Black, I think that the King in Black tie-ins, whenever Marvel does their tie-ins, it's their way of introducing new talent that you may or may not see, right? I think the best tie-ins they did were the War of the Realms ones. Chris, did you ever read War of the Realms?
No, I didn't read War of the Realms, but I've been waiting to talk about that DC thing. Not to digress, but I often get asked, Chris, like, are you more of a Marvel guy, indie guy, DC guy? And the thing is, like, I don't like to pick. I thoroughly enjoy them all.
Enjoy them all. Yeah.
My opinion is DC has good years. Marvel has good years. Independents lately have been dominating. Let's be honest. Like, something is killing the children. We only find them when they're dead. You know, these are fantastic stories. Even the brand new Ultra Mega, even though it's a little bit more of an expensive book, those who haven't been reading it, you should try and find those copies and pick that up. But Marvel DC, they have good years. They have bad years. They can't get their head out of their rear end, or they're that far forward with talent. In the 80s, I thought Marvel was doing well. And then looking back as an adult, I can see, my God, like, I didn't realize that The Dark Knight came out that year by Frank Miller, or that we had Alan Moore Swamp Thing, or then we had arguably, in my opinion, the greatest Batman story ever told, The Killing Joke came out then. But yeah, DC right now, in the last 4 or 5 months, I feel are hitting on cylinders. I know Travis mentioned that he's giving up Teen Titans Academy, although there's a whole myriad of characters are trying to amalgamate all in once in the first 2 issues. I like the fact that the Suicide Squad was tied into that. And those who are not reading Suicide Squad, you may want to consider picking up this run that just started right now. It reads as an independent. It's very violent. It's got good writing. There's a whole lot of trickery going on behind the scene with Amanda Waller. But that being said, like I said, Daredevil is very good on the Marvel side of things. It's hard, for me, it's hard to pick out, I like DC better, or I'm not a fan of what DC's doing, or I'm not a fan of what Marvel's doing. They all do the crossovers because the crossovers sell. Let's be honest, right? People like the spec card. Like look what happened last spring when COVID first hit. We got the idea the King of Black was coming. Null's first appearance in Venom went through the roof, and we all can basically agree. Yes, the King in Black was interesting, and some would say it was good. But most would agree it ended really quickly, and to the point where it ended fast. And I don't know if 5 issues should have been the proper story length. But again, like, I get that DC is probably most famous because of the fact that they made these big media announcements that they're doing the rebirth, that the New 52, and now Future State came out, and we're now dealing with, my God, Infinite Frontier.
Right.
But the thing is, some of it is really good, and I get the story that I'm finding across most of the titles is the fact that we're dealing with the fact that Bruce Wayne is broke. Now, I know that the franchise title Batman, being done by who I feel is one of the master writers of our time, is failing. Tynion's Batman is not that good. We are getting some interesting first appearance characters, and it's sure fun to spec on those books and pick up the multitude of variant covers that are coming out, but it's not that good. It's like every issue we're waiting for the next issue to come out, and this is when the big bang's going to happen, and then we have to wait again for the big bang. Then we're going to have to wait again for the big bang. But Nightwing is delivering. I feel Suicide Squad's still delivering. I know Travis doesn't like Teen Titans Academy, and that's fine. That's why we have chocolate and vanilla and strawberry, but I like it. I like the idea that we have an unknown anti-hero or possible villain in Red X, and who's wearing the mask behind Red X. But That's me, and I just was waiting to get in on the conversation, boys.
Yeah, we can definitely
I do agree. Suicide Squad is like amazing. I'm loving Suicide Squad.
Real quick, guys, I gotta go. Station to everybody. Thank you for letting me come on.
Hey, thank
Everybody
you so much
enjoy your
for coming in
weekend.
and hanging out. You too, man.
Yes,
Good luck
sir.
at the LGS.
And I'll talk to y'all guys later. Try to talk to you soon.
All right, see you later, Alfred.
Station, Alfred.
All right.
You know, Alfred is always better than Lucius. That's my philosophy. But what we were saying about DC, you know, now I'm with Travis about Teen Titans Academy. Personally, I don't care. I want more of an adult Titans roster saying, hey, we can teach the next generation. We haven't had those moments. And then with Batman is very hit or miss. Like the issues are very hit or miss. Like I know, like I'll be talking to Justin, No Good Comics. Even the Joker book as well. It's like I'm up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, Tinian is so great at doing new stuff. Something is killing children. Wind. The Woods was something great too. If anyone's read it. What else are you doing now? Department of Truth. You know.
And Wind is very good. Like for those that don't know anything about Wind, pick it up. Like it's about to start. It's about to start up again, I believe.
Yeah. The first volume's out, you know, and it's like a little kiddie book, but it's great.
It's a very fun read, and it's actually very deep. If for those that haven't read it, it's a very deep book. It presents almost childlike, but it's really good.
It has like themes that are very mature for mature readers as well, you know. So, and I think that Tinian's Batman is a side gig. It's 100% a side gig. Right, he wasn't supposed to be on this book come 5G, and I think they said, "Hey, what do you have next?" And he's like, "I have a fan fiction, but let's just put it to paper. Just let Jorge Jimenez draw it." You know, which is I think the biggest reason why that book is still selling. You know, and of course the spec market, the variants, right? Yeah. Without those variants, right? I would love to see, like what the sales are of just like the A covers. You know. You know, like I always want to see let's say one person bought 5 comics, but those 5 comics still counted as one sale. I would love to see that, you know? Like, then that's what I was saying with Wills yesterday is I would love to see, like, because that means, like, these are the people that are reading it, right? You have people who are buying, like, that 1-to-1. Now, we're all guilty of buying duplicates and variants, right? Because I think that's, like, an incentive for collectors saying, hey, if you love this book, here's just something a little extra for you. If you like it and it's affordable in your price range, you know, and everyone's different with that. Tinian's Batman is very, for the long-awaited answer, is very hit or miss. It's so like I love Miracle Molly, I like Punchline. I don't love her anymore because they haven't done anything with her. But you know, the designer was a disaster. Clown Hunter's a disaster. Ghostmaker's a disaster because there's no time to introduce a bunch of these characters.
Right.
They're all setups. I'm pretty sure that there's a book featuring the Clown Hunter coming soon.
Right, or we could Red X will be the Clown Hunter. Like, let's be honest. But yeah,
that would be the thing that brought me back into Teen Titans.
Like that's a big spec. It could be Clown Hunter. But again, I really have a hard time saying negative stuff about Titan just because to me, the best read right now is Something Is Killing the Children. We have a fantastic protagonist. We have a young woman that's a lead character that's not sexually over sexualized. Thank God. You know, she's not running around in a bikini. You know, she does have attitude. She carries baggage, and it's nice to see that all of this is being amalgamated into the story. And you know, she does have this problem with authority that's over her head. But you know, no one likes their boss, right? Like, and so it's relatable that way. You know, well, other than the fact that she's a woman, but it's a fun read. It's refreshing. Right. And then you pick up Batman 104 and then Batman 105 and 106, and yeah, we're getting these cool characters, but my God, what's it leading to, right? You know, Batman Catwoman, most people would say, is a better read. Same with personally, Batman the Detective, the one where Batman seems to be set place in London, England. That's an interesting read, and Detective Comics is blowing the franchise title out of the water.
gosh.
You
And
know,
that's
and
your
yeah,
story.
and throw in the fact that the cover Bs are all done by Lee Bermejo. My God, another master creator. Let's be honest.
Right.
But Detective Comics is killing what the franchise title is doing, and it's not necessarily supposed to be that way. But the weird thing about it is the two titles are not necessarily walking hand in hand. The way that
Right.
we do have the Joker and the Batman franchise
Right.
title done. Even though I
Right.
do know Tynan is handling the Joker. For me, the Joker's delivering more than what the franchise title itself is.
Right. And like to your point, and I think this is like something that I've noticed with Batman books. Batman is a character that you're supposed to think. Like you're supposed to walk away from reading a Batman book critically thinking life. Like I'm supposed to critically think like this is like a real topic, or this is something like The Killing Joke is a book you walk away from and you're thinking, right? You're automatic, like your thought process is like activated about like stuff outside of what's in the book. Same thing with Batman Damned, like you're saying with Lee Bermejo. Right? With Tynion's Batman, 106 was the first Batman issue that he's done that I've walked away critically thinking, you know, if I were in Miracle Smiley's shoes, I would do the same thing. The Joker story is a complete retcon right now of The Killing Joke, which it looks great. It looks great, but I just like, I want, you have 30 years of stories between Jim Gordon and Joker, and you also are the king of introducing new stuff. So why don't you take like your themes from Department of Truth, Something is Killing the Children, and your Batman book, and you can just throw that in a Joker, and that's what all you need.
It's funny. The Killing Joke often comes up for me. Like I said, it's a seminal Batman story. It's the story that I fell in love with the character for. Before, I used to just think that he's just a millionaire running around beating up poor people. But when I read billionaire. When I read The Killing Joke, it opened my eyes to the character and opened my eyes up to arguably the greatest villain that's ever been created too in the Joker. Right. And with that being said, it's funny how for the next 15 years, DC always claimed that book is by itself. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just a one-shot title. We let Alan Moore do what he wanted, and Brian Boland illustrated it beautifully. And all of a sudden, now in the last 10 years, everything now is tied into The Killing Joke. It's weird, the 180 that DC did. You know, we end up getting the three Jokers. Now we're dealing with the Joker itself. And they've been mentioning The Killing Joke so much so. It's almost like the generation that read it as young teenagers are now writing it and realize we can't just ignore this story. It has to be canon. It has to be a part of what's happening in DC lore.
Right. And I have no doubt in my mind that Tynion can deliver, which is why I have such high expectations for those two title books. Because he's given us like so many great books. You know, his Batman Eternal is one of my favorite Batman stories. If you guys have not read Batman Eternal, it is a Bat family team up with very exclusion to Batman and Alfred. It's very great, you know. Because you also get to learn about all these like Bat family characters. You know, you get to learn about Spoiler Orphan. Duke wasn't invented yet, or he was just not in this book. You get to learn about Batwoman, Jason Todd. Nightwing's not in it because he died at the end of Battle of the Cow. But it's fantastic, and you're leading up to everything that you need, like with the Falcons, with Owlman, with Hush, you know. Which if you guys haven't read that, it's one of Tynion's better Batman books. And then his Detective Comics from Rebirth was also a great read. Art by Eddie Barrows, and it's another Bat family title, and it's led by Red Robin. It's read by Tim Drake, who is a fan favorite Robin for many people. Probably for you, Chris, because that was probably your era. That I'm just gauging that you love talking about. It's Tim Drake era. But
Jason Todd was my introduction to Batman. A Death in the Family in the 80s there when Mike Mignola was doing the artwork, and then I was one of those that didn't want to see Jason Todd die, but then he blew up and now he's back, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I grew up with Jason Todd being Robin. Sorry.
Right. And you know, Fable's saying like give him some time, blah blah blah. They're saying that's probably the only book he's had to like fully flesh out, which I understand. You know, Something is Killing Children is very fleshed. Wind is very fleshed. The thing is, there's like an order to like introduction and actually including. You know, I feel like he's doing more introduction and less including. You know, I don't know if that's like because they're cut on deadlines.
you do got to understand too, like he was only supposed to be on for a limited time.
Right.
And then they came to him and was just like, okay, we want you to extend it. So now he has to think of all of these new ideas. So he didn't have a lot of time to think about like what he's going to do next. And that's what Fable was trying to explain. Like on Something Killing the Children, he was on that series. He was able to flesh it out. He knew where he was going with that. Batman, it's all new now to him. He has to think about where he's going to go. So yeah, there's a lot of buildup, but it's going to all pay off.
Right. And I'm hoping
Fingers crossed for that, man. Fingers crossed.
You know, like I think Joker War was very good. I think Joker War was good. I really enjoyed it, and I really want to continue to enjoy the Batman title. It's just a little bit frustrating because it felt like Joker War was just the beginning of what he was doing, you know. That's like really what I gauged it as. It's like this is your big bold statement saying I can write Batman. I can do this. Like I can write in the main title. Because not a lot of people read his Detective Comics work, you know. A lot of people don't also know he's an understudy of Scott Snyder. He is an understudy of Scott Snyder, which to Scott Snyder's compliments is he's a fantastic writer, and Tynion is a fantastic writer, you know. And I think like the three of us, we all love Tynion, and we just want everything to be as loved for different reasons, you know. Like you want to read Batman and love it for a different reason. Then you're loving Something Is Killing Children, Wind, and Department of Truth and Joker. For a writer to handle all those titles is phenomenal, though. You know,
you hit the nail on the head. Like the big picture is he does have a large plate that he's trying to serve all of us with. And again, it seems to just be hurry up and wait since the Joker War, and you know, it's just. You hope for more from a franchise title. The independents are independents, and as independents come out, you know that there's no particular pigeonhole that they have to fit themselves into. It's just whatever they want, and they can take it in whatever different direction. And none of us is going to be critical to it because it's a brand new story, and we don't know the framework and what it's supposed to be. And that's why I find Something Is Killing the Children issue 16 so intriguing, because now we're going to get the origin story of Erica Slaughter, and what's that going to pertain to, and we get to find out a little bit more. But I know Batman is a little bit more tighter fit to write into. But again, I just get that, guys. I get that feeling it's just a lot of hurry up and wait. And I'm tired of hearing, okay, Bruce Wayne's broke. Okay, fine, he's broke.
We get it.
That's okay. Nightwing is now super rich. Okay, well now we're gonna see what he's gonna do with his newfound money. But and in the end, we're all gonna get Alfred back eventually down the road, so everything will be solved, monetarily wise.
And then Nightwing will go back to middle class and actually budgeting out his pizza order when he goes to Marvin George's or whatever.
or when he's ordering lunch for the academy. But yeah,
right,
you're right.
Which is fun too, because we're getting a lot of different perspectives. In no way, shape, or form we like knocking James Tynion IV as a writer. I think we all right, and I think we all love him. And it's we understand he has a lot to do. It's just we want just a little bit more icing on the cake, and less speculating and more of a little bit more icing in this area of the book would be able to shine. I think that's also what Travis has been saying too, as well. But I mean, I think
have huge payoffs in the future. Like I know Punchline has not been mentioned for a while. She's she's going to be featured in the 4th issue of Joker. I think she's going to be heavily featured in it. But yeah, we do have Miracle Molly now, and then Robin has we have a new villain from Robin too, Livewire.
Right. And to Fable's point as well, I don't trust DC editorial. I don't. I like Jim Lee. I don't, and I think as a publisher, he's doing better. And I think he's a slow learner, taking ship of the industry so fast that DC Comics. You also have to take into account that they laid off a bunch of people and they're bringing in a new wave of editorial, right? There's no reason why DC Black Label is going to cease to exist in a year. I think that's where you got a lot of your good stories.
DC Black Label is coming out with Nice House on the Lake.
Yes,
right.
It is. Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm getting it signed on June 12th. Tynion's coming to Maryland, and I got my ticket.
Not after he watches this.
Hey, but We're not shitting on him though. Yeah, I think as a writer that your name is Titty, you gotta have like you have to be aware of what people are saying as well.
As a writer, you would want to welcome, both the positivity and the negativity. I don't think none of us here are being harsh towards it. We just know because he's delivered so many times on so many different titles that we want it for the franchise title of DC. And just some of us are just being critical of it because we know we know how he does deliver. And like I said, like you mentioned, his detective work was awesome, right?
And best work he's probably done in his DC career, Like if you're looking for a pure story, you have the omnibus. Are you gonna pull out the omnibus?
No, I'm not.
Oh no! I was gonna be so excited. I was like, ooh.
No, I wish I did.
He's digging for gold, He's.
I did have something interesting. Where is it?
What's up, Sheena? That's my BFF right there. I just want to point that out. I'm sorry. I flexing.
Flexing on what?
Flexing because it's such a flex to have Sheena as your exclusive BFF. I just want to point that out.
She's my amazing friend, so that's higher than BFF. She is my amazing friend.
You know what, Travis? We can flex with your Rick and Morty shirt. There you go. Oh, see, I haven't been to the
Rick and Morty. What?
Rick and Morty. What?
That was a nice segue. I thought I had a copy of Batman and the Ninja Turtles, and that was actually written by Tynan. And I was just going to say that, I've been a fan of James Tynan for a while. Even when he got stuck doing stuff in his infancy as a writer, and it was actually a good book. I don't know why it's not close by, so I apologize to those that are watching.
I can't believe I didn't mention is Justice League Dark was the best thing that DC had at the time. It was the best Justice League thing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's where Ron V got his stretch on with his work. So definitely it all comes full circle, right?
Yep.
And I think that's a good wrap for the show today. Like I said, this is what was the name of the show? I don't even remember at the time. I don't even remember. It's Where Will This Take Us? And it took us down the route of DC Comics and James Tynion the Fourth, which can't go wrong. Chris, the comic vet, and Travis, thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Yeah, Canadians are taking over.
Oh shit! You know what? And we're still on Krakoa.
Yeah. There's only 40 million of us. You have nothing to worry about.
It's all right. It's a boot.
A boot?
A boot.
But anyway, guys, station, and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys are thinking as well. I'm supposed to say that because I'm a YouTuber.